We're in John chapter 7. Okay? Last time that we talked about this, which was 2 weeks ago, because we had somebody here last week. Last time we talked about this, we were talking about Jesus. He didn't want to go to the festival. He didn't want to make a spectacle of himself, or he didn't want to draw much attention. And all of his disciples were saying, go man, come on with us. You know, go with us up to the festival. We want everybody to see you. We want to be famous like you are. And Jesus, he isn't about that. So he went, but he went kind of undercover. And where did he go? Straight to the temple. He didn't go out to the park. He didn't go out. He didn't yell. He didn't preach in the park. He went straight to the temple. Wow. See, being famous or being known or being recognized wasn't a big deal for him. But actually speaking the truth and actually just talking about God's word, see, that's what he was all about. He wasn't about being recognized, but his people, his entourage, his disciples wanted people to know who he was, who they were, because they were there with him. And that didn't matter to him. So we're going to pick up in verse 30. All right? So what he had said was he was in the temple and he made some people mad. He said, okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go back to verse 28. And I'm going to start with, let's see here. It says here that Jesus cried out as he taught in the temple, saying, you both know me. What they were saying was that, you know, basically we know him, but we don't know the Messiah that's coming. We know where this guy comes from. We know basically everything about him. We know his family. And oh, that's such a big thing, isn't it? You take somebody that you know. You take somebody that you know their past, you know what they've done, you know where they came from, and they weren't such a good person in the past, and they can't be a good person now. Because they did so many horrible things back when. We seem to be a group of people that judge people on their past, not on what they can do in the future. Amen? That's just human nature. That's how we are. You take people that they don't have what we have, they don't dress like we do. Maybe they did something in the past that they're ashamed of. Let me ask you a question, and I've asked this before. You don't have to raise your hand, but I want you to think about this. I'll bet you that everybody in this church can think of at least 2 things that they've done in their past that they're utterly ashamed of. Amen. Now, how would you like that if God says, well, you know what, I can't really forgive you because that was pretty heinous what you did. That's horrible. See, we as a church ought to open our arms and embrace everybody that walks through those doors. Amen. Because it's not for us to judge, it's for us to love. Amen? Amen. That's what we're here for. Churches are not country clubs, even though some of them claim to be. Or act like they are. Yeah. You got to have a membership to belong. We ought to start handing out cards so that as you walk in the door, if you hand your card, if you don't have a card, you're not allowed in. I know some churches now that if you don't tithe enough, you're not really welcome to come back. Wow. We got a neighbor of ours. Her pastor will call out at the end of the month. If you didn't tithe a certain amount, he'll call you out. So she comes over and borrows money from us because she didn't want to be called out. Truth? Yeah. Isn't that a shame? Isn't that a shame what man has turned church into? Yeah. Let me tell you, before we get into this, I want to tell you a quick little story that happened Saturday about a cheerful giver. I was talking with this man down here, talking to Dave about tithing. And, oh man, he just fired me up about tithing. See, you hear people say, well, all the church wants is your money. All that junk. And David told me, he says, I hate tithing. I hate them. He says, I've studied about tithing. You ever notice that if you want to go and you want to buy something for your car, like you want to buy new seat covers or you want to buy new tires or you want to like buff up your engine a little bit and make it faster, and you want to do something, you go out and you spend that money and you really enjoy doing it because you get a benefit from it. But if your car breaks down and you take it to a mechanic and you have to pay that money out, oh, then it becomes an issue, isn't it? See, the Lord loves a cheerful giver. You know, people that look at tithing as something that you have to do every month, and they give their 10% because they have to, they hate doing it because it's something that they have to do. I would rather you give absolutely nothing than to feel like that you have to tithe to a church. But then if you look at the tithe as, you know, God has given to me so much that I want to give back, and I cheerfully want to give back. Let me tell you something. You can never outgive God. Let me tell you what happened Saturday. I had a person come up to me on Saturday, going through a lot of rough stuff, but this person came up and she was so excited. I mean, she was excited, and she was digging through her wallet, and she says, "I've got extra money for the first time." She says, "I want to give to the CMA. I want to give to this." And I smiled and I said, "That's what it's all about. You want to do this." She couldn't wait to give. Well, let me tell you what happened. Now, this might not be a big deal to most, but it is a pretty big deal. See, when you join the CMA, which is all these guys up here, you buy a vest, usually about $100. Then you buy your patches, which goes on the back, anywhere from $29 on up. And for some people, you know, you're going to spend about $150. And that's not really feasible for like a lot of people. Okay? So she comes in, she gives joyfully, gleefully, willingly, and wanting to give, happy to give. Well, about an hour later, Dave comes up and says, "You know, this guy that used to be in our chapter, he just came up, he just moved to an area where there's not anything going on. So he gave us his vest and everything that was on it. He said he just gave it to us. I said, give it away to somebody who can use it." And it just happened to be her size. It just happened to be exactly what she wanted. She gave willingly, without any exception, and God blessed her back with something that actually she's going to need. And if you think that that's an accident, if you think that that just happened that way, no, it didn't just happen that way. No, see, you know what? The Lord loves a cheerful giver. Plain and simple. You want, you know, tithing, yes, God basically requires it, but if you feel like you have to do it, and you give with the wrong intentions, you will not receive any blessings from it. So anyway, I don't teach on tithing, I don't preach on tithing, because your tithe is basically just between you and God. It's got nothing to do with me. I never look at it. I don't really care to see it. It is you and God. But I just want to tell you that that was an awesome story. And since I don't teach on it and I don't preach on it, but Dave seems to be the bulldog with a bunch, I'm going to let him do it one day. Amen. There you go. Okay, so let's go to John chapter 7, we're going to start with verse 30. Now, I've kind of gone back a little bit. I told you what was going on. Okay, Jesus said that both you know me and you know where I'm from. Everybody knew where he was from. He was from there. Everybody knew him. I have not come of myself, but he who sent me is true. Now, who sent him? God. God sent him. So that's what he's talking about. And you do not know. He said to him, you do not know. But I am him, for I am from him, and he who sent me. Now, there's a lot of him sent me and he whom sent me. See, he's talking in the spiritual. Amen. Every time he would talk, he talked in the spiritual. And if anything, if actually we've learned anything out of John, what have we learned? That Jesus talks in the spirit, and we hear in the physical. We hear the physical stuff. We don't understand. So let's pick up in verse 30. And this is what it says. It says, therefore, they sought to take him. Now, 2 weeks ago, I said they were who? Who are they? Right, the Jewish leaders. When they said, okay, basically in John, when they talk about the Jews, or they talk about it is the Jewish leaders. For they sought to take him, but no one laid hands on him because his hour had not yet come. Oh, now let me explain this to you. Your Jewish leaders were so outraged, were so mad, were so angry. They had so much hate inside of them that they wanted to kill him right then and there. Satan was working in them like you have never seen and never heard. They had so much outrage. No, these are the leaders. These are the leaders of Israel. So much rage, so much hatred. But it said that they didn't lay a hand on him because his hour had not yet come. There's this thing, it's called the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit was working too. And Jesus was protected. Because in 6 months from now, he'll be crucified, but not until then. See, do you understand, though, basically what I just said? Not until then. I've done several funerals in the past several weeks. Some young, some old. Let me just tell you this, and I believe this with all my heart. I didn't believe it until I got into ministry, and I saw it for myself. This is from experience. You will not go until your time is come. I can tell you right now, there's probably 15 of you in here that can tell me a story of a time that they should have died. Something that happened to them that they should have not survived. But I got news for you. Your time has not yet come. And I know some people say, well, what's he waiting on? What did he take me? He's waiting on you to do something great for the kingdom. That's how I believe it. But there's a time frame for each and every one of them, and you can't cheat it. So it says right here that basically his time had not yet come. The Holy Spirit was working overtime trying to keep him safe. Because I'm sure that Jesus was not you could read it, he was not a very popular man with a lot of the Pharisees. They all had wanted to kill him. So, let's see here. In verse 31, it says, and many people believed in him. Wow. As he spoke, people started to, see, they heard what all of the Pharisees said about him. They heard what all of the bad things. But as they heard him speak, they started to turn because he spoke nothing but the truth. When he spoke now, they could tell that he was not a college-educated or a seminary-educated or a theology-educated man because he didn't take any kind of credit for himself or quote some of your major theologians back then. He didn't quote the rabbis. He didn't quote, you know who he quoted? God. He spoke strictly God's word, and they knew that he was not a seminary-educated man. Because he didn't act like everybody else. But all of the regular people, the normal people who had come there from all over, there was even people there from the Roman Empire. They had come from all over. They were starting to listen to him, and they were starting to change what they thought. And it says, basically, when the and so they said, when the Christ comes, he will do more signs than this man has done. What they were saying was that they didn't know if this was really the Christ that had come, but man, this guy's really doing some awesome stuff. He's a prophet. He's a good prophet. But let me just tell you this. I had actually just jotted down. Okay, so they said when the Messiah does come, he'll do more signs than this. Now, if you followed anything in John, Jesus has done some incredible stuff, has he not? So let's look at what this Messiah would have to do when he comes. When the Messiah comes, he will have to do more miracles than Jesus did. Wow. That's kind of a tall order. He will have to teach more with more insight and more authority than Jesus did. When this Messiah does come, he will have to love more remarkably than Jesus did. He will have to suffer with more courage than Jesus did. He will have to atone for more sinners than Jesus did. He will have to raise more from the dead with more triumph than Jesus did. He will have to ascend to heaven in greater glory than Jesus did. He will have to present a greater gospel than Jesus did.
Good luck in that one.
Isn't that something? He'll have to change more lives than Jesus did. He'll have to free more from addiction than Jesus did. Wow. He'll have to comfort more grief-stricken people than Jesus did. I mean, I can go on and on and on. See, these people were expecting somebody to come that was far beyond anything that Jesus could do. That's right. You know, it's kind of like us today. We look for something that's so unrealistic. Well, that can't be who God has sent in my life. Guys, for instance, God sends them a good, godly woman. Well, that can't be who God's sending in my life. She's not what I would have picked out. Wow, really? I'm actually scared to think what some guys would actually pick out. We don't look because we're looking at the physical. God is sending us spiritual, man or woman. Look at what's around you.
Amen.
Look at what is around you. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's go to verse 32. It says, the Pharisees heard in the crowd that they were murmuring these things concerning Jesus, concerning him. See, they were hearing that people were turning, and it says that the Pharisees and the chief priests sent officers to take him. Now let's just stop right there. The Pharisees joined with the chief priest. They actually joined together because they wanted to kill Jesus. So they figured if we get up with this other group that really doesn't like him, then it's not really our fault. We can join together. And they sent the officers. The officers at that time were the top military soldiers. The ones that, they were trained to the hill. They were the most trained people that basically you could have at that time. And this is what they said. Now, they actually sent the officers to take him, and this is what happened. Then it said that actually Jesus said to them, that I will be with you a little while longer, and then I will go to him who sent me. You will seek me and not find me. Where I am, you cannot come. Ooh, now, you talk about making a lot of people mad. You tell a Christian, hey, listen, I'm going to go to church this weekend. You're not going to find me. You can't come to that church because, would you tell somebody that they can't do something? Especially when they're thinking in the physical, you tell anybody you can't do something, what are they going to do? Do it! You just tell a baby, don't you touch that hot stove. About 10 seconds later, what'd you do? I touched the stove. There you go. Wow. You know what Jesus was really saying? On the next Passover in 6 months, I am going to be your Passover lamb for all men.
Amen.
In 6 months, I am going to be the Passover lamb. I am going to be the one to atone for all of your sins. And then he says, you will seek me and not find me. Let me just teach you something on this. You know what he's really talking about there? What he's really saying? If you study this, in 37 years from that day, King Titus will come in and actually wipe out that town and wipe out that temple. And what he's saying is, you're going to seek me, you're going to call on me, you're going to need me. But I'm not going to be there for you. See, he's not talking about right then and there. He's talking about 37 years from now. See, they didn't get that. They didn't understand any of that. But he's saying is that where I am, you cannot be. Why? Why do you think they cannot find him when they need him? One word. Unbelief. Unbelief. What do you think? What do you think happens to us today? What is our biggest problem? We have 2 words. Doubt and unbelief. That's our problem. Doubt and unbelief. We want Jesus. We want everything that comes with it. We want the blessings. But we're not, we don't truly believe it. Why? Because we're not willing to sacrifice our lifestyle. We're not willing to sacrifice what we have. We're not willing to change our friends. We're not willing to do anything. We want Jesus to come to us. We're not willing to go to him. Oh, friends, let me tell you that's the biggest mistake of our lives.
Amen.
I talk to people all of the time. Some of you read my post that I had put. I know I like to get carried away with that stuff. I was talking about basically jailhouse religion. And how some say, oh, well, that's just jailhouse religion. Actually, we baptized 15 inmates. And out of those 15, I'll be honest with you, out of those 15, maybe 3 will really change their lives. Will really change their lives. Will get hooked up in a ministry and get hooked up into a church. Change their surroundings, maybe even move away. Become a good, godly person. Become the person that God made them to be. Because we are our own worst enemy.
Amen.
We talk too much. We act too proud. We become what the world wants us to be and not who God created us to be. Amen?
Amen.
That's what we do. That's what people do. That's what we do. But let me tell you, if we want to be where He is, we have to sacrifice. We have to make a lifestyle change. Some people say, well, why is it so hard? Why can't I just change? Well, let's say that you're 35 years old. You spent 35 years living by the world's standards. It's not going to take overnight to change how you walk. We live in a sinful world. We live in a world that tells us if it feels good, do it. So, what do? We do it. If it feels good, do it. And then don't understand why there's consequences because the world said that it was okay. Man. There is so much in this. It's unbelievable. We can go on to verse 35. It says, then the Jews being the leaders, okay, said amongst themselves, where does He intend to go that we cannot find Him? In other words, they're thinking in the physical. Where's He going to go? What's He going to do? What's He talking about? We're not going to be able to find Him. We're the leaders of the Jews. We can do whatever we want. Who is He to tell us we're not going to be able to find Him? Now, understand that Jesus is talking in the spiritual. That's unbelievable. He's talking in the spiritual. See, He's telling them, listen, your mind is darkened. Your unbelief will keep you out of heaven. Let me ask you one question. Very simple. You don't have to raise your hand. Just ask yourself this. Do you believe that no matter what you're going through in your life, that Jesus can take you out of that? I mean, do you really? Is there a doubt in your mind? Is there unbelief in your mind? That whatever you do, whatever you're going through, He can get you out of it. You know, I have said this, but this is so crucial. The Bible says, and everybody knows this, that God will never give you more than you can handle. Right? We've all heard that. Oh, well, God's piled up everything on me in the Bible. It's not true. He has given me more than I can handle. But does anybody know the very next line? See, that's the key to that whole verse. What's the next line? Does anybody know? Without giving you a way out. Say that out loud. Without giving you a way out. You might be going through something that's so big, you might think that it's caving in around you. Oh, I can never get out of this. But He says He will never give you more than you can handle without giving you a way out. What's the way out? Him. Him. Let me just say that one more time. Him. Now, be prepared because your way out and His way out might be two different things. Oh, it's so funny when I talk to like inmates, 95%, and this is God's honest truth, when I sit down and I talk to them and I ask them, have you ever been saved? Oh yeah, I was saved 6 years ago and I backslid and I got, but they always tell me this. This is funny. Okay, if they're saved, this has never happened with somebody that isn't saved. But if they're saved, they say, well, I had sat down and I prayed. I said, Lord, get me out of this. I can't take this anymore. Get me out of this. You know what they said? The cops come knocking on my door and arrested me. Can you believe that? The cops arrested me. I said, yeah. You see, God knew where, you were going. God saw where it was headed. It might have been a funeral. It might have been even worse. God knew what you were doing. So He loved you enough that He pulled you out of what you were in. And I tell them, sure, being in jail stinks. That's probably the worst place that you can be. But in here, you can get closer to God than you can anywhere else. Because there's no outside distractions. See, that's our problem. We get so caught up with the distractions of the world. I'm going to sit down and read my Bible. I'm going to sit down and learn what God wants me. Oh my gosh, football season just started. Preseason games are on. I'm going to sit down and read my Bible, and I'm going to learn what God wants me to do. Ooh, NASCAR, just come on. I'm going to sit down and read my Bible tonight. I'm not going to let nothing distract me. Oh, all of a sudden going out to the bar? I'll be out there in an hour. See, we get distracted. Oh, just because I'm going to the bar, it doesn't mean I'm going to drink. Just because I'm going to do, just because I'm watching football, that doesn't mean I can't pray during halftime. I'm telling you, we get distracted from the outside world. We get pulled in every different direction. So let me keep going because there's actually something that I really want to cover in this. This is so important. Okay? We're going to jump down. And I want to talk to you about the greatest invitation that's ever been given. We're going to start with, let's see here, with verse. We're going to start with verse 37. On the last day, the great day of the feast, this is the 8th day, the last day of the feast, Jesus stood up and he cried out saying, now understand this, I'm going to yell it out because this is what he did. It says he stood up and he cried out saying, if anyone thirst, let him come to me and drink. He stood up and he gave the greatest invitation to man that is in this book. He said, if anyone thirst, let him come to me and drink. He who believes in me, as the scriptures has said, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. What does it mean by out of his heart? From your innermost being. If you read the King James, yours will say out of the belly. Out of your belly, out of your heart will flow living waters. Meaning, when you come to him and you take and you believe. See, this is the key right here. And I'm going to end it right here. Wow. This is the key. There's nothing we can do to earn our way into heaven, amen? There's nothing we can do. The only thing we have to do is believe. You know what, you might be going through something pretty bad right now. You know what, your life might be in turmoil. You might be going through something that you never thought you would ever go through. Jesus just said, if anyone here thirst, let him come to me. Let me ask you something. Are you thirsty? Are you thirsty? Do you want more than what you have? Is there something missing out of your life? Are you just playing church? Do you think that this is all there is? Coming to church on Sundays, might come to church on Sunday night, might even come and eat dinner because it's free on Wednesdays. There's a whole lot more. There's a lifestyle change. There's becoming a part of a church family so that once you become that, you turn around and you help others. You know, a church growth has nothing to do with the pastor. It has everything to do with the church. What do you say when you leave here? What do you say? What do you tell people? I love it whenever people say, that's like back there, they said, well, I actually worked with her, so I brought her here with us. Oh, that excites me so much. That's great.
Amen.
Because you're inviting somebody else to hear the gospel of Jesus Christ. And they might already know it, but they might hear it in a different way. Maybe a way that they've never heard it. Something might change their life. Whatever happens, you help with that. Let me just ask you this, and we'll just call up you guys. Let me just ask you this. What's going on in your life right now? If Jesus were to stand up here and say, if anybody thirsts, come to me, the only thing that you have to do, as the scripture says, is believe. And I will change your life. Not me, but the gospel of Christ. I tell Every time we baptize, I stand up there and I tell them, this water won't save you. This is the same water that you shower with. It ain't going to save you. The words I say won't save you. The fact that you go down and come up won't save you. Jesus Christ saves you. When you give your life over to Him, then everything else starts to fall in line. I'm not saying life's going to be easy. Life will be tougher. I got people that'll stand up and say, Pastor, I thought when I got saved, life was going to be a whole lot easier. Oh, no. You just made the enemy very angry. So now he's going to be after you with everything he has. I want to ask you to stand, if you can.